Hello, everybody. Welcome to Also Rusty Buckets, where I wear the same pajama pants every day, but I don't get judged for it because so do you. Today's games were not all that particularly great, at least the ones that I watched. I actually managed to dodge a lot of relatively close games. That's just unfortunately how it went. I watched Celtics versus Bucks, Blazers versus Magic, Pacers versus Mavericks, Grizzlies versus Jazz, and Lakers versus Cavs. So, first, let me talk about what was the best game that I watched today, I guess, which was Grizzlies versus Jazz. This game, I tuned into it about halfway through the second quarter, and the Jazz had a pretty sizable lead. But I had a feeling the Grizzlies were going to make a comeback, and they did. And they did it off of the backs of really just Moran, because the guy was incredible playmaking wise. Of course, he finished with 32 here. He had one layup over Rudy Gobert that was like, holy shit, that was impressive. He jumped into him, hung in the air for like a second, and put it up with the left hand for an and one. But to me, what stood out the most here was Moran. He finished with 11 assists, but I swear he could have had like 15 to 20. He had many great passes that just did not result in an assist. He had one behind the back pass to Justice Winslow, I'm pretty sure it was, for a three, and he just bricked it, but it was a gorgeous pass. So Ja Morant played amazing in this one. And then for the Utah Jazz side of things, as the lead slowly started to dwindle, the only thing that was keeping them from giving up said lead was Donovan Mitchell, who was just very clutch in this game, 5 for 7 from 3, hit a couple of threes late in this one, just had a good control of the game, while the rest of the Utah Jazz players really were not contributing all that much in his favor. So that's that game. It was a good comeback by the Grizzlies, but unfortunately Donovan Mitchell had other plans and they ended up losing by 3. I will say, though, the title of this video might be about the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm not entirely sure yet. One thing I noticed with this game was, goddamn, the Grizzlies shooting can be bad sometimes. I mean, Grayson Allen was 5 for 9 from 3 in this one, and what was Brooks' shooting? He was 3 for 8. This is a better game from Brooks, although he also took a dumb shot late. The shooting could be a lot better, and I think that's probably the biggest issue with the Grizzlies. Part of this, of course, is not having Jaren Jackson on the team because he's been injured all year. But they should, like, if they're in terms of like looking at who to draft and who to sign and trade for and things like that, getting a reliable, consistent three-point shooter would do this team wonders. But other than that, that's really all my takeaway from that game. For the Celtics-Bucks game, this is a really good game and a really like important game for the Celtics, that they were able to take care of business here, because the Bucks had pretty much everybody, like their starting lineup anyways. They might have been missing some role player. Yeah, Bobby Portis did not play. But regardless, for the Bucks side of things, what was interesting here, Giannis had a pretty shit game by his standards. He only shot the ball 12 times. But there was multiple possessions where Giannis had Taco Fall on him. I guess Taco Fall was getting minutes because I guess they aren't really looking to give Mo Wagner a whole lot of minutes. He ended up playing 10 because there was a blowout and he got some garbage time minutes. But they put Taco Fall in the game over him, which I found interesting. Like, when the game was relatively close, they put him in. But there were a couple of possessions, and it was just hilarious because Taco Fall is 7'5", and Giannis is massive. He's almost 7 feet tall himself, but standing next to Taco Fall or trying to take him on one-on-one, it made him look like he was 6'2", and it was so fucking funny. And Giannis was staring at him, and he got a dunk on him, but he also like took a couple of jump shots like he was afraid, like he couldn't get by him, and all that length there is just interesting. But for the Celtics side of things, really, it was just because all of their 4 best players in their starting lineup had at least decent to good games. Marcus Smart had his best game as a Celtic this season, as he's been injured for the majority of it. He had 7 of 10 threes. Tatum had a fantastic game, 13 for 18 from the field in general. Jalen was fine. He didn't really stand out in this one. And Kemba Walker, he didn't shoot well, but I'd say he was okay. And I guess for the standard of like the Celtics, they never seem to have 3 players play well. And I guess this is kind of like a combination because Brown and Kemba were just okay, but it's definitely a nice thing to see for them. And for the Bucks side of things, it was just not that. amazing. This guy, Sam Morrill, though, he played a lot in this game, and he had 15 points, 3 for 5 from 3. That's something. Yeah, just wanted to point that out. But Bucks side of things, they did actually make a late game push, like right after I turned the game off, while it was garbage time. They actually made it a game, I guess, but it didn't end up mattering. And the Celtics are prone to blowing leads, so that is a tad bit funny. But then if I can talk about Blazers versus Magic, why I decided to watch this game really was Norman Powell making his debut for the Blazers, and he played about as well as you'd expect. They also had Nurkic come back. I believe this is his first game back. He might have been in another game that I missed, but he did not play well. I mean, the box score doesn't look bad, but he had a bunch of bad passes and bad fouls and a couple of whiff shots that he should have made. First game back, it's fine. He played 18 minutes, so probably on a minutes restriction at the moment, so it's all good. But Norman Powell, he played about the way that he normally does, 5 for 7 from 3, which is very good, but 7 for 13 overall. 22 points is fine. CJ struggled shooting the ball in this one. He finished 8 for 26, but he was clutch late game because this was actually a close game because despite the Magic no longer having Vucevic or Evan Fournier or Aaron Gordon, they still managed to put together a decent game here. So Khem Birch was great because he's a pretty solid role player. And then off of the bench, they got Mo Bamba, who had a pretty solid game. And this guy, I'm going to try and pronounce his name. It's Chuma Okeke, as far as I am aware. He is a forward, and in this game, he had 22 points, and for the majority of it, he had not missed all but one shot. There was a time where he was like 8 for 9 or something like that, and 2 for 2 from 3. He ended up taking a couple of shots later that brought down his stats to just 60% from the field, but he was very good to start, hitting a couple of jump shots and just being solid. He had a nice line drive. He is a player that my friend Not Zay, who is a Magic fan, has talked about a little bit to me. He's definitely someone to keep an eye on for the Magic since they don't have a whole lot going on right now. And then Dwayne Bacon got his dream of being fake Kobe, where he was like, "Oh, I get to shoot 19 shots today." And he did shoot 19 shots a day. It wasn't very efficient about it, but you know what? More power to him. And then Mo Bamba, I want to talk about him briefly. I feel like the Mo Bamba discourse, there's no reason why Mo Bamba can't be a decent role player center, I think. Defensively, is he what he had the potential to be? Or I guess still has, because he's not that old. Sure, he's not that guy that he could be. But he's still good defensively. And then offensively, the jump shot is respectable for a center. Not really much of a finisher, but he's not, if you get a wide open layup, it's not like he's going to whiff it. Not much of a rebounder really either, but a decent defender who can stretch the floor at the 5 spot. Sounds like a role player in the NBA to me. I don't think Mo Bamba is a guy who's going to be out of the league in 5 years. He's just probably never going to be anywhere close to the Rudy Gobert with a jump shot potential that he was being described as out of the draft. So that's that game. For Mavericks versus Pacers, I only watched the halfway through the third and up to halfway through the fourth because the Mavericks we're just simply not going to win this one because Luka has been out with some sort of injury. I don't know the details of that one. But Kristaps, he played very well in Luka's absence, to be fair to him. Other than that, though, didn't really do anything this team, and the Pacers just kind of took care of business. I think it was smart on their part that they did not trade Brogdon. He played well here. And Sabonis, I thought that rumor was stupid that was even a thing that was pondered. So I'm glad that didn't happen. I don't have much to say about this one. Nothing all that significant happened. And then if I can talk about Lakers versus Cavs, unless there's a game I skimmed over that I watched. I don't believe I did. So last but not least, I have to talk about Lakers versus Cavs. So this one, it was relatively close until the Cavaliers just could not make a shot to save their life for a huge stretch of the game. I think they were half of the way through the third quarter and they had only scored once at one point. It was just suddenly just zero offensive production from them. This game was sad to see from the Cavs side of things because it was really just Darius Garland desperately attempting to create offense because with Colin Sexton out, he's the only guy, period, that can create offense off of the dribble. Like I like Shetty Osman, but he's not really a guy who can dribble much. Uh, there's no one on this team. Quinn Cook a little bit. Like if you're reaching for Quinn Cook, that's saying a lot. Like this team, it was just Darius Garland dribbling constantly, and then him trying to set up Larry Nance, who had a great game, Jared Allen, who had a good game. But it was literally just Darius Garland trying to do his best. And on the Lakers side of things, I mentioned before that I want to keep an eye on the Lakers without LeBron and AD, just out of curiosity. Like, I saw a couple of people commenting when I said that I was like, I was trying to expose the Lakers or something. Like, I'm not expecting the Lakers to be good without those two. I don't think it's a big deal. It's just pure curiosity. Like, I wonder what this team is going to be like without those guys. And lucky that they get a win here, although I think it was mostly the Cavaliers beating themselves more so than it was the Lakers. But also, this team looked a little bit more uniform than the first game that I watched with those two gone. There was more Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell pick and roll that I had mentioned as what I would do in their circumstance. There was more Horton Tucker scoring, which is something else I also mentioned. I thought he would be starting, but I mean, he is still getting like more minutes than KCP and stuff like that, so it works out. Markieff Morris was good yet again in this game. He seems like a guy who's going to be stepping up. And then Kyle Kuzma, once again, a lot of assists. Now, he could not score to save his life in this game, but 7 assists, like, I did not think Kuzma could have any kind of game playmaking like this. And there was a game he had recently where he had 9 assists. So good for Kyle Kuzma, like, stepping up in areas where previously I never expected him to have really any talent in those regards of the game. And I talked about this in my like most underrated player on each team video, but like Kyle Kuzma has rounded out his game extraordinarily well for a guy who seemed so narrowly in one area and everything else he's bad at it. And now that's just simply not the case. So good for Kyle Kuzma. Montrezl Harrell was fantastic in this game. He had one up and under move on Jared Allen that was nasty. But yeah, I mean, the Lakers just looked more uniform. That's nice to see. It was the Cavs, and it was more the Cavs beating them than it was the Lakers winning. So it is definitely something to keep an eye on. But yeah, it was a good game for the Lakers. But still, mostly the Cavs beating them. So there was actually a lot of good games today. I mean, Nets versus Pistons came down to 2 points. Harden had 44. Raptors versus Suns was a close game. Hornets versus Heat was a close game. The Timberwolves had like a 20-point comeback and like a 22-0 run versus the Rockets to give the Rockets another L. Pelicans versus Nuggets was close. I believe Jokic had a crazy good game, but I just kind of missed a lot of them. That's the unfortunate thing, is you can't. What was this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games. 22 teams play today. You know, you can't watch all of those games unless you record a bunch of them, which I don't do. So you got to pick and choose, and sometimes you choose poorly. Although, you know, some of these games are all right. I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, also, I did a video over on my main channel, like grading every trade deadline move, and it's not doing as well as I would like. So if you haven't watched it already, I'd appreciate it if you gave it a watch. Like normally I'm like, oh, something happened with the algorithm, and but it's just performing poorly, and I'd like it to do better. So if you go watch it, drop a like, it's appreciated. Also, drop a like on this video. I didn't even do the sub intro for this video. Shit. Subscribe if you are not already to this channel. Drop a like. Also, if you haven't checked it already, new Sixers My NBA on the gaming channel, the last episode of the series. But yeah, that's it. All right, bye.